Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Chris Fluck podcast with me, Chris Fluck. Special guest today is Wes Morris, and then the man behind the camera here is Chris Fiegel. So long as they speak your name, you shall never die. So on April 28, 2013, I was at a gym. I was putting in work, waiting for a childhood friend to come in here, and I got a call from my mom. It was a voicemail. I didn't answer it at first. Trained a few people, came back in, listened to it, and she just said, "Hey, give me a call back." I knew something was up, just by the way just the way that her voice sounded. So I called her back. She said, "He's gone, Chris. Ryan's gone. My brother was found dead, lying on a bathroom floor. The cause of his death was an apparent drug overdose." So, growing up with my brother, we're in this small town. Like many other teenagers, we did some things. You drink. Some people dabble around with some marijuana, but when that weed got a little bit boring, my brother moved on to prescription drugs. His friends were having 1 or 2 pills. He ended up, kind of pushing the needle a little bit, maybe having 5. Through all this stuff, when he was experiencing this stuff, he was still able to get a degree from Penn State. He was teaching, he was coaching wrestling. The teams were doing great. He was enjoying life, but then behind the scenes, all that stuff was a front. And behind the scenes, he was struggling and he was battling addiction. A few years before we kind of realized how bad things got, we started seeing these behaviors that were odd. He's dozing off, standing up. He's driving his car. You see him like his head bobbing. So we started scratching himself excessively, and his personality would change almost as frequently as his heart would beat. So, his tolerance for these medicines grew. He took the next step, and it eventually became a fatal step. He began using heroin. So if you ever saw somebody on heroin, it's kind of like, shadow of death is following them around. A few short months later, after even a dozen of his friends, family, all of us try to help out. He's gone through a bunch of different programs, but that vicious cycle, it was arrested, it was going to rehab, going to jail. That thing just kept going and going until he took his final breath on earth. So my brother, you say what you want, but he was a tough dude and he fought pretty hard. Drug addiction was just tough. He won some of these small battles while he was trying to recover, but in the end, he just lost the war, and the addiction was too strong, and my brother just couldn't handle it, and it eventually got him. Now, there's an old Chinese proverb that talks about success is having another opportunity. Our guest today is someone who has been given an opportunity. Now, a few years ago, I was in this gym here putting in some work on a Saturday morning. Man comes in on his bicycle, coming in from Allentown, I believe. It's a good haul from Allentown to where we are, and he just came in, and I don't know if you want to kind of share that story with what you told me about my brother and how you guys crossed paths.
First of all, thanks a lot for asking me to come out here and participate in this. This isn't the first time I've done something like this, but it's always an honor when anybody asks me to come and share anything about positivity in my life. Kind of just touching on what Chris was talking about. I grew up with the Fluck family, and we grew up in organized sports, and wrestling is probably one of the biggest memories that I have of the Flucks, being vigilant in Saucon Valley wrestling. And and Ryan was always, he was always that guy that you looked up to. He was always that guy that, he had a big heart. He would help out anybody. And he had charismatic, a charisma to him, and a lot of leadership qualities. It just goes to show that it really doesn't matter where you come from, or who you are, or what type of socioeconomical status that you grow up in. Anybody is susceptible to adversity. It's a tragic thing when anybody loses their life to more so to addiction, but it's definitely a sad thing. And my story, talking about that day, I too struggled, very similar story to your brothers. I was the kid that said it would never happen to him. I grew up around a lot of adversity, a lot of, drug use, and my sister too, right? My sister, started using opioid painkillers at an early age, about 15 years old. And, I always had a negative connotation on the actual substance, and I blame the substance as to why my sister was a heroin user. I always blamed and never understood why she couldn't just stop, right? Like, why don't look at all this pain that you're causing to me, to my family, to yourself, right? It's almost like, they become a scapegoat, right? And almost like a black sheep of the family. Like, and don't talk about this situation that we have in our family because it might bring shame and guilt towards the family. So I have personal, and I'm not saying that that's his experience. I'm just saying that that's my experience, is that my sister was a heroin addict from the age of 15 and struggled with it for about 10 years. I found my sister dead on the floor. She was blue in the face. And, they hit her with Narcan and revived her. So from an early age, I always blamed the substance as to why, my family was distraught.
When did that happen with your sister?
Probably about 1999 is when that started. I was about 15 years old. She was 18.
I didn't know that. I didn't even know they were using Narcan in 99.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So Narcan's, it's just been, you see it a lot more in media because the problem is so big.
Yeah.
But no, it's been around for quite some time. But I'm sorry, I get off track. But go ahead.
No, I wanted to just, you came, I'm going to go back to that story, man. You came in here, and it's been a little bit, I think, since my brother passed, and you just brought it up that, even though that my brother is gone, he was somebody that just kind of helped keep you on the path almost. You guys crossed paths in there. Probably didn't expect to really see somebody you knew.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Who would have known you're in there? We didn't even get into that yet,
right,
personally.
Yeah.
But, sorry.
So, long story short, the long short of it is that me too, I too got addicted to prescription pain medication. I was a kid that said it would never happen to him, and until I got prescribed some opiates. And long story short, I was a homeless heroin addict in North Philadelphia. And at the height of my addiction, in order to get the next one, I sold bottles of water in the middle of the street. I lost everything. Heroin took everything from me. My car, my job, everything. It took my self-respect. It took everything and it reduced me to selling bottles of water. I would stand in the middle of the street on hot days and I would be dope sick. Let me tell you a little bit about heroin withdrawal. Imagine the worst flu you've ever had and then multiply that by 10. And every cell in your body is screaming. Your restless leg syndrome, you can't sleep, you're sweating, but you're cold, you have a runny nose, just the whole 9 yards. It's the flu times 10. And then you have this little voice in your head that says, we can take this all away. Just like that. So I ended up being, I was a terrible heroin addict. And it's one thing to have a problem, but it's another thing not to be able to talk to anybody about it, right? So long story short, I reached out to Ryan because I had heard through multiple mutual people that he too was struggling or had been down the same road. I moved to Philadelphia. I moved away from the Lehigh Valley. So when I came back, I reached out to him. I said, hey, man, I got a problem and I need some help. And he took me to my very first 12-step fellowship meeting. He went in with me, and it meant a lot. It meant a lot. Like I said, it's one thing to have a problem. I don't care what problem you have, whether it's an eating disorder, you're gambling, you're being infidelity, whatever. the shame and guilt will keep the secret and continue in that negative pattern. So to be able to reach out to somebody like your brother, who I loved and respect, and for him to be there for me, and you know, even in some of his last days, he was still trying to help someone.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm riding my bike to, I don't know where I was riding it, but anyway,
You were going into town.
yeah,
man.
I was going into
to
town.
work.
It's a nice 6 mile trek,
Yeah.
you know. So I knew that you were here, and you know, this was probably about 5 years after that incident that I just spoke of.
Yep.
And I said, you know, let me.
Seen some dude coming in spandex.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
wondering what was going on?
I got the whole suit. I look like the Silver Surfer. So I said, you know, let me see if the door was open, and I saw an opportunity.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Dad. I mean, I don't think this would be going on right now if you didn't do that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm glad you did that. And granted, my brother, he's a goner. He's dead. But hearing those stories kind of, you know, like I was saying, I mean, I remember there's a quote here. I kind of named that thing that I read in the beginning. So long as they speak your name, you shall never die. So just as long as these stories are out there, you know, it just brings back good memories and keeps them alive. So I appreciated you coming in and even coming on here and sharing the story. So like we kind of touched on it, but Wes and I mean, we grew up in the same town. It was a small town.
Yeah.
A lot of people that we know and we grew up with, you know, there's a lot of people that have died in this small little town of Hellertown. And even in, you kind of extrapolated out to the whole Lehigh Valley. Something's going on, and I don't know what it is. I don't even know what we could do about it. I mean, you're doing your thing, trying to get out there, talking to people. I mean, just today you were in Catasauqua, you know, talking to people, and there's other groups out there that are trying to almost inform people. And like, I almost feel like that's part of the issue too, is that there's that shame, there's that guilt that nobody wants to really talk about
Right.
things, and then that shame and guilt is what's going to end up feeding the addiction even more. It's going to feed into the depression or whatever it is
Sure.
that might feed into that stuff. So, so that was one side of things too. And we talked before we got on here. I want to talk about just the environment growing up. I mean, that role, the environment that you're in,
Yeah.
how did that affect you growing up?
Well,
Or if it did even.
yeah, it definitely affected me. You know, there was certain situations in my childhood that were outside of my control.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, I always say this, you know, and you know, I don't blame any people, places, or things for my actions. I stopped doing that a long time ago, right? That's just a cop out. You know, if you're not willing to look at your part in things, you're never going to get better. But I had certain situations in my childhood that were outside of my control that led to a lot of embarrassment, shame, and guilt, negative emotions that I didn't know how to process, right? So, you know, we grew up in a small town, and it's just that, a small town, right? And, you know, when you live in such a small area where everybody knows everybody and something happens, it's almost magnified unreasonably.
Definitely.
Right? So, you know, I was faced with adversity at a very young age, beyond my control. And that led to just wanting to get outside of myself. So, you know, basically when you're young, you don't know how to, and we were talking about this out here, you don't know how to process emotions. You just, you know, feelings are dictated to, feelings are based on our experiences. And when you're young, you don't have a lot of experience. So your brain doesn't know how to process certain things as they're coming about. And we're dealing with a 2 million year old piece of equipment up here, right? Our brain is designed to keep us alive. So whenever we don't feel something good, our brain is designed to change that. And so I don't even know if I'm answering your question here, but yeah,
So, no, basically, this is what I just want to kind of put out there too, is that like, let's just say your environment was one thing growing up.
Right.
Right? It may have led to a decision you made, it may not have, but like, what are you doing right now, say, that kind of enrich your environment that's not going to put you back on that path? You know? Like, what changed for you?
Man, everything changed. Everything changed. I don't associate.
But you got your book right here, man.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you're doing a lot of stuff to enrich
man.
your life.
Yeah. Well, I got to a point where, number one, I realized that all the decisions that I've made thus far have led me exactly to where I was right now, right? So from the age about 15 years old, you know, I when I was 15, I got my first DUI. I stole a car, and I was drinking, and it was all behind an ego and a facade that I was trying to portray, that I'm a tough guy, right? And rah, rah, rah. And basically I was hiding a shaky, insecure little boy inside. And, you know, so when I got to the point where I was ready to admit that, you know, I'm not so good at making decisions on my own, that's when my life changed. When I made a decision to reach out for help and to get some help, it changed. And I've changed everything. I don't associate with the same people.
Yeah.
I not only forget about drug use. Like, if you're a negative person, like, I just can't mess with you.
Yeah.
You know? So everything changed.
But then, I mean, you had that feeling, though, at that moment in time that you could actually control some of the things that were going on in your life. Like when the big change finally happened for you, I mean, you decided that I can control the way things are going?
No.
No?
No. No. The exact opposite. Like, I can't control what happens outside of me. All I can do,
Right.
all I can.
That's what I was saying.
Right.
You control you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can take control of your life and your behavior.
Yeah.
Like you had that power to do it.
No, yes.
Right.
Yeah. Like, yeah. I can't control anything. All I can control is my actions. You're right.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And then at the time, too, how were you feeling and just about yourself overall in terms of like what you were doing with your life? I mean, we were talking, you were an iron worker.
Yeah.
You know, is that when you were in that moment there, were you just doing that to make some money, or were you doing that because you just saw yourself, hey, I'm going to be working this. I'm in Philadelphia. I'll be an iron worker for the rest of my life. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get where you're going here.
So
Hey.
things went dark.
Things went dark. We're talking about the drug use, or
Just that period of time, I guess. You know, like you were working a job that you probably didn't care too much for.
Right. Yeah.
Were you happy with anything going on at that moment?
Not really.
Because that probably fed into, I mean, it just, where I'm going with this is just kind of all these little factors that could kind of play into it, whether it's your employment situation, the self-perception that you have. Maybe at that moment in time, you didn't feel that you had control of your life, say. Like you were not controlling your behavior the way you wanted to control it. Would you say that's accurate, or?
Yeah. For the most part, yeah. Going back to the ironworker thing, like the reason I was an ironworker, and not to say that there's anything wrong with
Right.
that profession,
Yeah.
right? It's just that I never believed that I could do anything other than swing a hammer, right? I didn't believe that my self-esteem was so low, which is a lot of the reason why I use drugs, right? To give me a false perception of my reality. And so I didn't have to deal with my reality. So I turned to drugs. And, you know, if you're working a job that you don't like, right? If you're doing something, listen, life is too short. It's too short to go through. You're going to see the grays now, baby. Life is too short to go through doing something that you're unfulfilled. And I did that for a long time because I didn't believe that I was worth anything other than what I was doing at that moment, which led me to my last year doing ironwork. I made 70 grand, 70,000, which was, you know, when you're out there selling bottles of water, 70 grand's nice. It's a nice come up. You know what I mean?
For sure.
You go from $1 a piece to 70,000 a year. It's a good look.
I mean, I'm just kind of circling around with this stuff, but I mean, everything is just feeding into the decisions you were making at the time, right?
100%.
You're just kind of spinning in circles, which we were talking to, and you were even like, dude, are these real statistics? But, you know, we're talking about things where, like, you know, you put people in these environments, the book's Tribe by Sebastian Younger talked about this, so you could even check this book out. It's pretty small and short, but it's great. He talked about people in Vietnam where they went, like 1% of soldiers go to Vietnam. While they're in Vietnam fighting this war, 50% may have used, 20% of these soldiers come back with an opioid addiction. 8 to 12 months later, that number's back down to 1%. So it was like they removed these people from that environment that they were in, brought them back home, things returned back to normal, 1%. We talked about, so that was the environment side. This guy, Carl Hart, does this interesting research. Basically, he did a study, I think it was in the 90s, but basically crack addicts, meth addicts, brought them in, offered them two things, a dose of the drug that they were addicted to, or a financial reward or something equivalent to that. These individuals didn't always choose the drug. Sometimes they took that money. So they were able to make these rational decisions in these like closed environments. They didn't always choose the drug, but when given an opportunity for something else, they chose that thing. So it's like getting to the point where you feel that there are options out there. You're not just stuck where you are. There's opportunity out there, even if you don't feel it. And it's like you can't just give up on that thought, because when you do give up on that thought, it's just going to feed that whole negative loop that you had going on. Not you, but just everybody in general, where it's like you could get out there, even if you don't feel like it. You could kind of take control, even if it's like one decision a day. Like you can do that. Mm-hmm. And it's a start. Whatever you do, like you just do one thing one day, maybe the next day you're doing two. But I don't know, man. That's just kind of where I wanted to go with the whole spinning around a little bit with the environment and just kind of taking control of your life seemed to play a big role in it.
Yeah.
And then the psychological part of it too, where you didn't feel good about yourself. You probably didn't feel competent in certain areas of life. You know, there's a self-determination theory. It's like you want to feel competent. You want to have certain autonomy where you have control of your life and your behavior. And then the third part is connection. Did you feel connected to anybody at the time? You know, we just talked. I mean, I just had a baby 8 months ago. My girlfriend had a baby. And we had this little girl. She's awesome, but we looked at some things, and it's like 85% to 95% of babies in America spend time in their own bedroom. You know, parents kind of put them in their own thing, and they end up relying on blankies and all these different stuffed animals. And we just decided, you know, every other culture does this thing, and we felt that for her, having that human connection, having her by us, she sleeps with her bassinet next to us. Sometimes she's sleeping in bed with us, but we wanted her to kind of feel connected to us. We didn't want her to go in another room. You know, we wanted her to be there because she's so young. She's only 8 months old. And, you know, when we were researching things about having a baby, we just started stumbling into all this thing about human connection and how important it is from a young age. And I'm like, is this feeding into kids? I mean, this is like the wealthiest country in the world, but like the depression and all this other stuff is also the highest too, where it's like everybody's living good allegedly in America, but it's like all these mental health issues kind of right up. It is. I mean, it's
a facade.
Honestly, it
a
really
mirage.
is. So anyway, you know, the human connection.
Yeah.
If we don't feel connected to other people, if we feel that these people, my own brother, you know, I'm sure my brother at the time felt that I was out to get him. A lot of decisions that I made, I felt like a hypocrite because I saw this man using drugs, and I'm like, you know what? I'm sitting here on a Saturday night drinking 15 beers, and I'm gonna pass judgment on my brother when I'm pretty much doing the same shit.
Alcohol is a drug.
Yeah.
It really is.
So I'm like, I got to cut this stuff out of the system here. And that led to me kind of getting on a different path. So that connection, me and him did not have a connection at the end of his life. I was there for him when he needed me to be there in terms of running him to the hospital, when all he really wanted at the time was just to get some drugs. I did that for him. I drove him to Shippensburg in the middle of the night, up for 30 hours doing all this stuff for him. That was just being a brother, but we just kind of, I felt we lost that human connection, you know, because he was taking money from people, he was doing all these nasty things. So, you know, if anybody's doing this, if any has a family member into it, like, that's not who they are. Those actions that they're doing when they're using, that's not who they are.
Yeah.
And you need to be there for them because that human connection is important for their recovery, and they need to feel connected.
You know what I needed the most at the worst time of my life? I needed a hug.
Right. Not a punch in the face.
I needed a hug. Not
a slap or anything. You needed to feel. You know, I had people that were like, my brother's friends, you know the guys, you should beat his ass. You should do this and that. And I'm like, what is that going to do? It's going to put him in a further funk. You know,
he's already beating the shit out of himself.
Exactly. Every night, man.
There was no part of me that wanted to be in the situation that I was.
Oh, yeah. Who would want that?
Who would want that?
Seriously.
It was absolutely hell on earth. Love is the most powerful thing that we have.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is.
It's true.
It's the life flow of energy between two human beings.
Getting a little woo woo here.
It's okay. It's all good, bro.
It's the truth, though, man.
It is. It is.
Yeah, it's rough. Yeah, so I mean, those are just three. We were certain. I mean, we talked about this stuff earlier, and I wanted to just kind of find a spot for this stuff. But you got family member. Just be there for them. They need to feel that connection to you. And human beings, I don't think they totally mind hardship. I think they mind not feeling important. Like not feeling valid, not feeling connected to other people, not feeling necessary. I think that's the hard part.
It's extremely important for people to feel like they have a purpose.
Yeah.
When I walked away from that $70,000 a year job, I had no idea what I was going to do.
Yeah.
None. All I knew was that I was extremely unhappy. I was working 60, 70 hours a week. Yeah, you got $1,500 to $2,000 checks every week, but what good is it because you're tired 99% of the time?
Yeah.
Right?
Is that how you got started with some of the? Did you get prescribed drugs while you were doing the labor?
Oh, yeah.
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 That's a common.
Yeah.
That's
People work you to the bone.
Yeah.
And then you find something that'll help you work those kind of hours, and and then next thing you know, you're addicted. But so I walked away from all that, all the comfort, right? And honestly, to get clean, like it was either I walk away from everything or I'm gonna die. It was that serious.
Yeah.
And when I did so, I didn't know how I was gonna earn an income. So this guy said, "You can come over and walk my dogs." Now I drove without a license I lost my license for 18 years. 18 Yeah. Apparently, when they put the lights behind you, that means to stop. So apparently that's frowned. So I lost my license for 18 years. So I drove without a license for 9.5. And when I made this huge life-changing decision, I let go of my car. And I didn't know how I was going to get by. So this guy says, come walk my dogs, right, for $10 a day. Last week, I was making $1,500 a week, talking about $10 a day. But in that moment, it gave me something to look forward to. I woke up every day, and I knew I had to go walk this guy's dogs, big-ass bull mastiffs. And
is this in Philly?
No, this is in Allentown.
Allentown.
And I realized how important it was just for people to have a purpose, to feel like they matter, right?
Animals do that.
It's extremely important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like those animals needed you.
Those animals
needed you, yeah.
It wasn't about the money.
Yeah.
So many times we do things for instant gratification, right? It's the delayed gratification. That's where the money's at. So.
Now, we mentioned that bicycle story. So you're living in Allentown.
Yep.
No job yet other than walking dogs.
No.
No work down here in town?
Through walking those dogs and, through walking those dogs, when a person comes off of any type of drug, I don't care what it is, caffeine, nicotine, heroin, alcohol, the brain is going to go through a volatile state, right? You're going to be up and down. It's going to be extremely hard, right? And through doing that, I started to practice. So I'm walking these dogs and I'm going through this emotional volatile state, right?
Yeah.
Of, second guessing myself, what am I going to do? But I started practicing principles in my life. Principles are commitment, right? Dedication, doing what you say you were going to do, right? So I started practicing commitment. I'm showing up and I'm walking these dogs every day, even though sometimes my head tells me that I don't want to. I don't want to ride my bike over there to walk these dogs. They're huge, but I did it anyway. And through doing that and prayer and meditation, something told me to go help my mom. Go help your mom. It's what the message I got. Now, you got to understand, I was the epitome of an iron worker. Like, I was rough, rugged, and raw. You know what I mean? My mom's a massage therapist.
In Hellertown.
Yeah.
Small town, not a big town, guys.
Yeah.
It's about a mile long if you haven't been.
Yeah.
You're lucky.
It's not a big metropolis.
You got pizza joints, salons, a psychic, and massage studio.
And a
basically.
brewery.
And a brewery now.
We got a brewery now.
Just what we need, another bar.
Yeah. So I get this message, says, go help my mom. Now, you got to understand, my mom's my heart. Strongest woman I ever met in my entire life. So she was getting older, and something told me to go help my mom. So next thing you know, I'm going to school, and I'm in school to become a massage therapist, right?
So you're learning.
Yeah, I'm learning. I haven't been in school, and I tried college. I majored in beer pong and female anatomy.
So we're talking about walking dogs. I want to kind of take a side note here because you see in the back here, I got a little gym going. Physical fitness.
Yeah.
How did that? What role did that play in your recovery? Like getting on the right path.
Good point. So I'm walking these dogs. Somebody buys me a bike. I'm riding my bike from the west end of Allentown all the way to Hellertown.
What are we talking? 45-minute, 45-minute ride?
Yeah, it's about 10 miles.
Yeah.
Right. But you got to understand that me and my mom been through hell and back together. So she's my heart. So I'm riding my bike from over there 10 miles to get over to Hellertown because my why was greater than my how. And in doing so, I'm releasing endorphins, right? And also, I'm no longer negotiating with my brain. So when you start riding anything hard, you want to climb a mountain, you want to take a marathon or ride your bike 10 miles. Your brain is going to try is your biggest enemy, and it's going to try and talk you out of it. So even to this day, I wake up 4:45, right? Every single day, no alarm clock needed. Boom, I'm up 4:45. First thing I do is I say thank you. It's the very first thing I do. It's dark, it's cold. It's important for me to put myself in a state of gratitude. After that, I walk downstairs, pour the coffee, 20 minutes of YouTube motivational videos, right? That way, I'm putting something positive into my brain. Right after that, I go to the gym. And I don't go to the gym so I look, like Chris. I go to the gym because I don't want to, I'm practicing discipline and I'm not negotiating with my brain anymore. I'm in control. I make the decisions, not the body, not my mind. I'm not negotiating with myself. When it's cold, when it's snowing, when it's raining, I walk my butt 2.5 blocks up to the gym and I get a workout in. And afterwards, I feel good about myself, right? So I told you how I had low self-esteem.
Yep.
By physical fitness, by working out, by not negotiating with my brain anymore, I build up my self-esteem.
I mean, I see this with everybody, but it's so important too with kids. Like, there's a lot of kids that are like struggling more now than ever. Maybe at least that's what people say. But you get them in here, especially boys, because they start to get a little bit of muscle, and then you see them walking around feeling good. But it's all confidence. It's all it is. And same with females that come in here. When they see that they could actually do a chin up or they could move 200 pounds on a sled or do whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, physical fitness just builds confidence. It's crazy. It's amazing, really.
Yeah.
And it's like one way that we could almost like reset the whole system is to just get people active, riding bike, rock climbing, whatever you're doing. But like, you got to physically move your body.
Yeah.
And it needs to be a part of like it's discipline too that gets you there.
Right.
Because nothing else is going to get you. You watch your motivational videos, but if you don't have the discipline to walk 2.5 blocks, you're not getting there.
Yeah.
You'll watch YouTube all day, So it's like there's kind of a fine balance of between being motivated to do something, but then having the discipline to just do it every day.
Put action
no matter
in.
what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be action.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Good stuff.
I wanted to get to the fitness thing just because I think it's super important.
It is.
All right, so we were riding bikes down. You're helping your mother out.
Yeah.
You're in school, massage therapy.
Yep.
Your mom's running a show down there in Hellertown.
At the time?
You're helping her.
Yeah, just for whatever, I got no idea what I'm doing, but something very serious moved me. It's got to be a powerful message, and I'll just be honest with you, I believe in God. Like, that's what told me to go help my mom. And it's got to be a powerful message for me to walk away from everything that was comfortable in my life to completely change everything. So I got a message from God. I said, go help your mom. And so I'm in school, and I've never been the smartest guy, right? I've never been in any arena. I've never been the fastest, smartest, best looking. Like I've never been that guy. I've never been like the Adonis that has all attributes. So my work ethic is what I will beat you in my work ethic.
It's like Dan Gable, the old wrestling coach.
Yo.
Outwork them all.
All of them. All of it. And that's why I wake up super early. Because if the guy next to me has a 4-year degree and has been handed everything, then I got to wake up 3 hours earlier just to get half of what he's got. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And my work ethic is my strong point, is that I will outwork you 9 times out of 10.
What was those 3 keys you brought up? Successful businesses?
Branding. I'm sorry.
Passion? No. What were we talking about out
Gang
front
7?
there? Yeah. What were your 3 keys? No, your 3 keys for a successful business.
Oh,
Consistency?
yeah. Positive action. Oh, I'm sorry. For business, you got to have a good product, whether you're in a service-based industry or not.
So you could have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't know how to apply that to a product, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. You're just the smartest guy.
It's not doing anything positive.
You
really.
can't turn it into anything tangible.
Right.
Right.
So we got the product.
Yeah, you got to have a good product, right? You got to believe in your product, right? Then you got to put positive action in towards that product or service, right? And now we're talking about marketing and stuff. You got to be consistent with that product.
Yeah.
Right? You got to
That's the biggest
deliver
one.
consistently, not just once. Like I'd rather be, good over a long period of time than be great one time. And then you got to be patient.
Yeah.
You got to be patient. So many times I see, we see these quote unquote, we'll call them millennials. I think, I don't even know the exact, I think we're millennials.
We are, maybe.
Yeah.
We're on the brink, man.
If there's one,
So don't be too harsh.
yeah. I always ask people like, what kind of cartoons did they watch as a kid? That gives me a good depiction on, where we're at age-wise. But so many times I see kids wanting instant gratification because we live in a social media world.
Yeah.
Right? And, when they don't get that instant gratification, they become depressed, man. And so many times, if you want something great, it's going to take time. It's going to take consistently beating on your craft is what gets you great. So you got to be patient.
I mean, I'll talk to some people, and I'll use like lawn care as an example. Like if you show up when you say you're going to show up every week, same day, same time, whatever it is. I know rain might happen, whatever, but if you're super consistent with it and you actually do what you're supposed to do, like you're better than half the businesses out there, because half the time people don't do what they say they're going to do.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So that is something that's always in my mind. It's like if you are going to offer something, like you're going to do it. And be consistent with it. Show up every day. Don't miss something, whatever it may be. Yeah. So being consistent is kind of the key, I think. And whatever, I mean, you obviously need the product. You need to be patient, but consistency, I think, is what kind of separates you from
you got to have
the competition. Yeah.
a quality product.
Yeah.
Right. And be consistent, man.
All right. So we're talking now. We'll transition into, so his mother she's been down there, 15 plus years? Before you? 30? We're talking a 30-year business.
1990.
This is something you never wanted to get involved in.
Never
growing
saw
up,
it.
right?
Never saw it coming.
Never saw it coming. So long. I mean,
You would have asked me 5 years ago, I'd be doing what I'm doing now. I'm going to tell you.
Laughing or what?
Smoking crack.
So you go to school,
Yep. Go
certified.
to school.
What brings you-
Licensed.
Licensed. Sorry.
Yep. I have a license from the state of Pennsylvania.
And then the moment came, you made a decision.
Made a decision. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to help my mom. And in doing so, I took an honest look at what was going on in the business. I said, my mom is getting older. Love you, mama.
Don't let her hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, my mom already had a great business because, to be honest, she was the head massage therapist for the Philadelphia Eagle. Great story. I'm 16 years old. I come home from wrestling practice, go to check on my mom. Hey, Mom, how you doing? Hey, Wes, sit there. I want you to meet somebody. All right. She does this all the time. I'm expecting Joe Schmo to come walking down the hallway. Here comes Donovan McNabb walking down the hall. Hey, Wes, it's nice to meet you. I heard a lot about you. I'm like, Whoa! So my mom was the head massage therapist for the Philadelphia Eagles from 2000 to 2012. So she didn't really need any help from me being great. She was already great. I just wanted to take it to the next level. And in order to take it to the next level, we had to rebrand. That's exactly what I did. I rebranded.
So you went from
the Body Bank. Yep. To Saucon Valley Massage Therapy. Yep.
Yeah, located in Hellertown.
Yeah.
Gave it a facelift.
Yep. Did no business experience whatsoever. Didn't know what I was doing, but so many times we were just talking about this. We wait and plan for the perfect opportunity, and really you're selling yourself short, man. Because you need to just get out there and do it. Fail Forward is a great book by John. I'm a big John Maxwell guy. Failing Forward. Just get out there, experience, learn, right? It's all part of the process. And that's exactly what I did. I got right in there. I started meeting with people, picking their brain. How do you grow a business? How do you operate a business? How is business being done? Take a look at the competition, see what they're doing, see what you want to do, and, take consistent positive action towards your goal.
Yeah.
Every single day. And that's exactly what I did. And, 2 years later, right? We're fully operational. We employ 4 people. That's one including myself. Online presence, online scheduling, online gift certificates, right? New facade, new interior, just all around, just really, reinvented ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? And I learned that have some leadership skills.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice thing to learn, right?
Yeah. It's a good quality to have.
Yeah. So, in addition to that,
Yeah.
working with a local business, what would you call Bank?
Bank 7?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bank 7 is a, through putting in positive action, this is a great story too. I get to the business. I'm ready to rub backs, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Got the lotion.
Yeah,
on.
I'm ready to go. Hands are warmed up. 0 clients. None. And I go back to the state of fear. Like, how am I going to get by?
Yeah.
And the antidote to fear. Yeah. So I'm scared. I don't know. Is this really? Did I make the right decision? I'm second guessing myself. Massage. I don't do this. I weld. So I'm fearful. I got 0 clients, no income, 0. The antidote to fear: positive action. Get your feet moving, even if it's a small thing. So what do? I start getting out in the community. Yeah. I start doing events. I start giving away free chair massages, anything to get my name out there. And the one time this guy, my boy Mark Sams, he's a realtor. There's a plug, Mark, if you ever get to watch this. So he does a golf event up in Bath. Now, mind you, I don't drive anymore, right? I ride my bike, take Ubers. So I got to wake up.
Is that an Uber dropping you off today?
No, that was my boy.
Oh, all right.
But so I wake up. I got to wake up at 4:30, which isn't nothing crazy for me. But I got to haul all my stuff up to Bath to do a free event for massage therapy, doing sports stretching.
Yeah.
With no immediate gratification. And through doing so, I meet this kid. His name's Joe Barrios, tattooed all the way down, right? I'm like, look at this guy. It looks like he just, did something crazy or robbed the bank. He just has that look. And nothing happened at that exact moment. I gave him my card, yada, yada, yada. Nothing happened. I go to my barber shop. Here comes this same dude. Comes in, sits down next to me, and, gets his haircut. I'm like, yo, I notice you. I remember you. And nothing happened at that moment. So long story short, he started this business entrepreneurial group, right, with these young business owners. It's called Bank 7. Bank 7 stands for branding, accountability, networking, and commitment. The 7 has a spiritual connotation to it. And all it is it's a networking group of like-minded people that want to get better in their lives.
And then your role
So
Accountability.
I'm the accountability guy.
So what are you doing? You were telling us earlier, man. You're
Yep. So
working the phones?
today's Monday. I started making calls at 5:30, where I call individual people and I get them aligned for their week. This is a holiday week, so I was really on them. Everybody wanted to, take it
Cruise.
easy.
Yeah.
I'm not having none of that. Right. So what I do is I align them for their week, and about midweek, I'll shoot out a text. Hey, where are you at with that?
Yeah.
Right. Where's your critical task? Where are you at? Are you slacking off, or are you out there getting it? Right. And so that's my role in the Bank 7. I'm very proud of the group. Actually, we just had a turkey drive. We bought 53 turkey dinners for families in need that are going to be dispersed throughout the Lehigh Valley. So we raised enough money to do that for some families. So, we're just a group of people that happen to be entrepreneurs that, want to go to the next level.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Anything else you got going on? We got Silicon Valley Massage here in Hellertown, Bank
Yep.
7. Where else can people find you? What are you doing? I know you're getting out there and you're talking.
Well, yeah, I do a couple of things, man. I first and foremost, I'm try to be a good person.
Yeah.
Whatever I do, I try to be kind to people. And I just strive. I'm always raising the bar on myself, right? Always putting myself in a place where I can grow, right, in every area of my life. I have a family. Being a business owner, I have multiple businesses actually. That's just a byproduct of me continuing to grow my mental, spiritual, and physical well-being. I own Silicon Valley Massage Therapy in Hellertown. We specialize in therapeutic massage therapy, sports massage, deep tissue, aches and pains, reflexology, prenatal. Those things. We do one thing, we do it really well, right? We're not the typical spa. We emphasize on the massage therapy. In addition to that, somebody presented an opportunity in network marketing. I've never done network marketing before in my life. I thought it was a scam, but through becoming open-minded and willing to try different things, I said, let me give this a go. 9 months later, no car, riding a bike, I went to the top 3% of the company. Yeah. They're sending me on trips. It's very exciting. And that all came from a result of putting in the work. I speak at rehab facilities and schools. I'm doing this today. I'm constantly getting people to believe that they can do more, be more, and become more than what they are right now. That is my goal in life, is to get people to see something in themselves that maybe they don't see at the moment, but to bring that out of them and watch it blossom.
Now, we talked about this too before. I mean, you got YouTube page?
No.
You put some videos out though?
Yep.
You're gonna
Yeah.
link up the video, one of your videos at the end of this thing.
Cool.
Instagram?
Yeah.
You got
Yeah, I got the Instagram, Wes Morris Inspires. I got
what kind of content you putting on there? Just
things to make you think, things to inspire you.
He's talking as an accountability coach right now, or just
Yeah.
in general? Yeah. Keeping people
Yeah,
on
just
the path?
all of the above. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm ready. I got a second chance. What was that quote? The Chinese quote?
The old proverb there.
Yeah.
Man.
Success
is having another opportunity.
another opportunity. That's exactly what I got.
Yeah.
I got a second chance at life. And life is so short. It really goes by in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
You get one shot at this thing. One. And I got a second chance at it. I lived 2 lifetimes in one life. And I'm just taking advantage of it. Pulling out all the stops. Whatever, just whatever I could do to live. You know what's the best thing? It'll be a Tuesday morning. I'll be riding my bike to work. I'll be coming over South Mountain.
Yeah.
Right? It's May. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. The air's crisp. I'm listening to my podcast or my videos, and I'm going to open up my business. And I never felt so free in my life.
It's nice, right?
That is living. So many, I used to just kind of meander through life with no direction, no target. I'm living, and I'm grateful for it, man. I mean, family, everything. I'm just excited about the whole thing, bro.
Now,
Yeah.
you got anything else to add in here? I want to talk about that wrestling little tidbit. We'll give a shout out to that sport. I
Yeah.
mean, so back in the day, Wes, a year older than me, but
Yep.
we're probably around the same weight class. I think you're maybe one above me. But I mean, growing up, you wrestled, high school wrestled, right? We were probably around the same size, probably scrapped a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
There, but I mean, you said one of your biggest
Disappointments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it?
I wrestled from the time I was 5 years old
Yeah.
until seventh grade. So what are you, 13? So
Probably.
13, I started going down that bad road, and I quit.
Yeah.
I quit. I couldn't hack the pressure. I couldn't deal with the discrimination. I couldn't deal with the with bullying or whatever. I just couldn't deal with emotion. So I got this bright idea and I quit. At the time, I allowed other people's opinions to dictate where I went in my life. And living your life based on the opinions of others, you can only go as high as those opinions think you should. So at the time, I quit, and I got into drugs and alcohol. And looking back, it was probably one of the most disappointing things I've ever done was to allow someone else's opinion of me to be my reality.
Yeah.
So I come back in 10th grade. I make a comeback for whatever reason. Wrestling was just, it's that individual sport. I love, the hardest part about wrestling was practice. The match was just basically, it was the big show. But the hardest thing is showing up every day. I probably had alcohol in my breath a couple of times.
Probably weren't the only one back in those days.
So I would show up and I would get my butt kicked every day. Get my butt kicked. For whatever I had lost a whole lot of ability that I had in those 3 years between 13 and 16. And this guy was my partner. I think we were both like 160 or whatever, but I would show up every day and I would get my butt kicked. But what that taught me was commitment and showing up and dedication,
Yeah.
right? Even though I wasn't the stud athlete, I showed up every day.
It's a great sport, man. It's tough, especially where we live here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, District
Cutting
11.
weight, competition's tough. It's wintertime. It's miserable. You wake up
Yeah.
hungry, cold. It's dark out. Then you got to drag your butt to practice. It's no joke. It's a great sport, man. It's different. It's a whole other animal.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, it's really unlike anything else you could do as a high school athlete.
And those jitters, those emotions that you get right before you're about to run out onto that mat,
Yeah.
right? And running out anyway, right? That is so beneficial in today for me now, because I think back on those moments where my head and my gut were telling me like, don't go out there, you're gonna get you're
You don't
gonna
have
get
a choice,
beat up.
man.
Yeah.
Because that match just ended and you're on deck and it's
Yeah.
go time. The team's clapping, getting ready. So you don't have a choice.
Your heart's beating a million
Yeah.
miles a minute.
Yeah, you better run through there and get out there on
Talk
the
about
mat.
an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, but the matches were a reprieve. I mean, you make weight and then it's time, man. You can put on 10 pounds. It doesn't matter anymore what your weight is, So it's like all week you're sucking weight. You make weight. You're like, finally a breath of relief. You go out there and wrestle the match. Probably eat too much. You're 10 pounds overweight the next day, and then you just start the cycle all over again where you got to start working out, cutting
Yeah.
weight and all this other crap. I mean, it's a unique sport. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about it, but it does teach you a lot, and it's great. I think, I don't want to say everybody, but I mean, that's one sport that I feel like you should give a go at some point. Growing up, yeah, it teaches you a lot.
It's really good.
So
Yeah, man.
we got that, man. Anything else you want to throw in?
Boy,
Good to
I'm
go. We're
just.
approaching an hour here.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm not kidding. Like at the end of the road, at the end of my heroin addiction, Chris, I would literally stand in the middle of the street in North Philadelphia, which is one of the hardest neighborhoods in the state. And I would stand on that yellow line, and I would hold these bottles of water, and I didn't want to be that person anymore. And I remember people driving past, and I remember the look of disgust on their face as they would look at me, and they would throw trash at me, and they would yell things like, "You junkie, get out of here," right? And
so much contempt.
so that, that's a real story. And just looking at my life now and where I'm at in my socioeconomical status, or just the things that I've accomplished thus far, and I'm really just getting started. I'm really just getting started. Watch out. So I say that to say that anything's possible. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. If you're willing to work for it. That goes with anything. That's all I got.
All right, man. Perfect.
Hey.
Might need to do this again, brother.
Oh, that was
All right,
great. Yeah. A lot of fun.
All good, man. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
See you
Appreciate
guys.
you.
Hey, guys. Wes just left. We had a great first podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. Now, you're going to be able to find this podcast in a few spots. Number one, YouTube. It's going to be under Chris Fluck. Search that. There's a lot of videos there already that we've shot in the past. So that's number one. Number two, you could go to patreon.com. We're going to have some options there. Basically, what this website is just going to give you an opportunity to kind of support what we're doing here. Whether it's, maybe give $1, $5, $10, whatever it may be. You can kind of support what we're doing, and we're going to be able to put content out on there. We're going to have videos out, written articles, all this other stuff. So we're going to make more and more content available for you on that platform. And then it's kind of like, support as you can. Another thing, links are going to be showing up, Facebook, Instagram. Just be on the lookout for them. Emails. We're going to try to flood this thing, try to get this out there to you so you guys can enjoy it, all right? Hope you guys have a great day. Peace, everybody.